I have to say, guys, the short list each week I have to make of 5 fan casts for you guys to vote on down there in the comments. Go ahead and have a vote. It's harder to make each week, and this is why, part of the reason why I've brought back midweek fan casts now, which you can check out, Miraculous Tales of Ladybug and Cat Noir. I did this Thursday. And it's because there's so many good ideas, and I don't really control which one gets chosen Sunday to Sunday, so if there's something you're requesting for a long time, or there's something members are requesting, that could easily be a midweek fancast, okay? And I'm trying to keep that in mind, you know, what people have been requesting for a long time, as I think about what's next in the midweek fancast and what's next to go on the list. So here's this week's shortlist, okay? Bambi. Do you want to see The Last Unicorn? Do you want to see a Pirates of the Caribbean fancast? Do you want to see Sky High? Or do you want to see The Matrix? Let me know, and let's get on with today's fancast. Now, WallE is a delightful Pixar film, and I really love it. It's one of my favourite Pixar movies, without a doubt. It's also, I'm not going to say pointless to fancast live-action version of it. And I'm not saying it's pointless because I'll never do a live-action version of it. Seems unlikely, right? But I do think there's no need, because I don't think the cast is important in comparison with a lot of, well, with almost any other movie. I feel the cast in this film is unimportant, okay? Most of them are robots. You just get someone who can voice act a robot. That's what you gotta do. That's the primary job there. And then there are humans, but there's only 3 with more than a couple of lines, I believe, right? So it is... yeah. I've done it. I have fancasted it. And I'll explain why I've chosen each role. But in general, I don't feel like it's like the cast matters hugely. In live action form, you just need to do a lot of the great things you did with that one, but with a really big budget to make that CGI world work. Yeah, really big. This film's never going to happen in live action, but here we go. So WallE. WallE. Yeah. WallE's delightful. WallE is maybe my single favourite Pixar leading character. Yeah, maybe. I do love him. WallE is delightful. He is the epitome of everything that is good and hopeful, you know. The fact that this little robot so long after all of the others had stopped, had given up, had died off on the planet trying to fix it, he'd continued just by himself the whole time, dreaming of a day when things would be better. There is nothing in the world that is more inspirational than WallE's perseverance. I want to cast Alan Tudyk in the role, and it's a bit of an unusual choice. You don't honestly automatically jump to Alan Tudyk when you think leading character, but Alan Tudyk did a really good robot in Star Wars, and he's done a lot of great voice roles and things, and I like him for the comedy of WallE. Those little, like, moments, I think he'd do that really well. And yeah, there's not a lot to it. There's not a lot to the casting WallE, guys. There are a lot of great voice actors out there who could do it, you know, without a doubt. I feel like Alan Tudyk is somebody who is comedic, and then you don't expect the heartfelt moments, and they turn up. That's why. Because WallE is the same. How heartfelt it gets, despite him being very funny a lot of the time. That's perfect. Next, Eve. You need to be more careful with Eve's voice, okay? You do. But still, you want someone who's really used to voice acting, really good at it, has a strong female voice, you know, like, it is a very distinctively she's in charge voice. And I feel, again, like there are a few people who could do this, a few really well-known female voice actors. I'm going to cast Kaley Cuoco. Because I just, when it comes to female voice actors recently, I just always think of her as Harley Quinn, and how I was so surprised. And, you know, I remember her doing things like Brandy and Mr. Whiskers voice role when she was a lot younger. But it caught me off guard, her going to voice acting as Harley Quinn, you know. It caught me off guard when she went and did that, and it stunned me with how good she was at voice acting in general. I think she's great at it. And she also brings a level of star power to this. for the leading roles that Alan Tudyk wouldn't as much. It's like how you want to cast James Marsden because not as many people know Ben Schwartz as Sonic the Hedgehog, you know? Same deal. Next. Then an actual human, Captain B. McCrae. Yes, big guy. He's a big guy. It's true. And he's definitely the most important human character. They're all big guys. They're all big people. The humans in this. And I'm going to cast John Goodman. Now, I know John Goodman's lost a lot of weight recently, I think. But I can't help myself because, once again, John Goodman, we all know, he's good at comedy. But the Captain doesn't have to be as comedic as he has to be. And I'd really like the live-action version to explore more his heartfelt side, because he battles for the ship and to be able to go home, and he's so intrigued with it, and that's so fun for his character. But I'd also like to see beyond that something really heartfelt about his link to Earth, or the stories he's heard from his ancestors, or how he didn't feel ready to become captain. There's something more to explore with that character, and I think John Goodman would be really good at it. I'd like to see the captain be older. I don't know why, I just imagine that working really well. How he's had a little bit of hope his whole life for so long that this could happen. I'd love to see that, and I think he'd be great at it. Next, Shelby Forthright is... as soon as I heard that name, I was like, is that a real character in this? Is that really an important character? But it is the guy who... Was he the president? He kept talking in the video packages and things, both on the ship to them, giving them their instructions, and you see him back on Earth with WallE and just on the screens. And I really like the idea of it being Kurt Russell, because Kurt Russell is somebody who's old enough and renowned enough to be this great cameo appearance doing these little bits and be believable as a politician while also being incredibly... I think the word is just memey. He's memey, and he's really good, he's really funny. And I'd like to see them go just a layer, just one notch above the madcap insanity of those video packages for a live-action version. And if it was Kurt Russell, I feel they'd do that really, really well, and it'd be a really, really funny addition to the film. Next, I'm not casting most of the robots, honestly. Most of them make a few blipping noises, make a few squeaks. They don't speak. And as much as you could cast just a bunch of people, honestly, you just take a great voice actor. Say, I always cast Frank Welker when I need a good voice actor. For all of the robots in general, he could do all of them. You know, that is the level of great voice acting ability and history he's got. So I don't feel a need to cast all of them. I certainly don't feel the need to bring out big A-list stars or anything to cast them, because it just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. However, there is one role that's interesting. Very interesting about this film. It's Otto. The ship's computer, Otto. Kind of going and seeing. Very, very take on a terrible film called 2001 Space Odyssey. I hate it. I hate it, guys. But the original voice for Otto was done by Apple computer software. It was an actual machine doing the lines. They just typed it in, made it say the lines. And as much as I feel like they could just get the same software to do it again, I'd really like them to get an Amazon Alexa. Just gender band Otto for no reason. Get an Amazon Alexa voice. I just think it'd be really funny, just to go through, because that's more representative of today's advancements. You know, an Amazon Alexa or an Echo Dot or something, than Apple machinery, you know. You could still just get Siri, still voice gender bending it, you know. But whatever, I'd like to see them get somebody like one of those two voice softwares to do it, because that's just what it was. It was the machine software doing it. That's the first time I've ever cast a non-human in a role. That's fun. Next. Finally, you just want to cast John and Mary. They are the only other two even vaguely relevant humans, and that is heartfelt as well. That's a little bit of extra, as much as WallE and Eve is already the best romance in Pixar history. Yep. There is a lot more to be explored in John and Mary's side romance plot, because it's really delightful. It's as much as the captain is about finding out how passionate he is to go back to Earth. These two are about entirely and completely finding their humanity again, which has been completely lost by the time the film starts, because it's so many years, all humans just sitting in these chairs, just over, you know, ads have taken over. They actually took over, they actually did it. It's like that South Park episode. And I'd like to cast Brian Baumgartner for John, because I both feel like Kevin in The Office is one of the funniest roles, and it's good as a bit role. John is a bit role. John and Mary are both bit roles. And he'd be really good as doing the physical comedy, being really, like, awkward at meeting Mary and kind of falling for her and stuff, and I think that'd be so adorable. Like, imagine, like, any time you saw Kevin interacting with a girl in The Office, imagine that, but it actually goes to fruition, like, works out well for him in such a heartfelt way. It'd be so delightful. And Mary, I'd like to see Keala Settle. I've never tried to say that name out loud. From The Greatest Showman. Yeah. She's so good in that. And she's so heartfelt in that. And I've never actually seen her do much comedy. But I think she'd play very well off Brian Baumgartner doing these, like, little comedic awkward bits. I think it'd be really fun. And I really think their romance could be, like, a really fun part of the film. Whereas before it's kind of, it's there, you notice it. It's not a major part of what makes you go, about this film. Which is all about making you go, let's face it. So adding that and making that more like that, making the captain more like that, just more heartfelt, just pound the heartfelt into them. If Pixar goes live action, someday you know they're going to just pound the heartfelt in, guys. That's what I'm going to do. There we go. Got it. And that's all for this one, guys. Do let me know down in the comments below who you would cast in a WallE live action podcast. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because they're not going to do it. And it just, you know, anyone could do most of those roles. Yeah. But subscribe for more podcasts. Vote down there for the next one. Go ahead.